And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. You may be familiar with a lot of faces on the Hollywood big screen, but there is some incredible talent behind the scenes as well. Legendary costume designer Ruth E has been putting in the work for decades. She's worked on multiple TV and films, including Do the Right Thing, Babs, Malcolm X, and both Black Panther movies. All of her hard work has paid off, with her winning 2 Oscars for those iconic Black Panther films, and now she's documented her amazing career in her book, The Art of Ruth E. Carter. She tells me she's still humble about her success. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, it is our honor to have 2-time Oscar-winning costume designer and creator Ruth E. Carter. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be recognized.
And when they opened that envelope, that second envelope for the second time for 2023's Wakanda Forever, what was that like for you?
All of the details about, making history and all of that stuff, was kind of in my mind, but I tried not to think about that. I had some colleagues that were also nominated that I thought were also recognized for brilliant work. So I didn't want to be too presumptuous. You can't help when you're in the room and around everybody who's winning and those who aren't winning. You're in this kind of whirlwind of emotions. And so I just tried to stay centered and, whatever happened, I was okay.
And of course, you have a new book out, and it's chronicling your life and your work. Initially, I saw you started out as an actress in college, but then you got caught up in the world of costumes and designing. Obviously, the right move for you, right?
Yeah, it was the right move. I realized that I could explore all the characters and not just one. If I got into costume design, I could study each one of them and create an arc and a color palette and see, how their relationships would look visually on stage.
And so when you're creating your work, how do you come to the final end game with the products that you create? Do you talk to the director? Do you talk to the producer? Do you even talk to the actors to get a better feel for what you want to create for this movie, for this production?
Absolutely, it is the director's vision. He is the be all and end all, but he isn't a costume designer. So you do have to do the work of creating ideas to show not only the director, but also the production designer and the lighting designer, the DP. Sometimes the visual effects team really wants to know early what kind of ideas that you have. And so it's a highly collaborative medium, filmmaking, and it spans over time. So these conversations continue and they're revisited, and you get the actors into fittings, and there becomes another collaboration and another conversation because sometimes they're thinking something in a totally different direction. So, I play the middle. I know what the intention is for the director, and I have to represent his wishes as well when I'm in a fitting room alone with an actor and racks of clothes.
And when you think about many of the projects that you worked on, many of the costumes that you designed, what was your proudest moment? Obviously, you won Oscars for Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. What else would you say is on that list where you said, wow, I've created this?
Oh, goodness. There's so many moments. I can think of dressing Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner and Angela in a scene where they were in a diner. And I just happened at the last second to find these sunglasses that had a tiny little triangular flip up. and I presented them to Lawrence Fishburne, and I said, what if you wear these? And he put them on, and he just loved it, and he had this blue jumpsuit on, and when you can recreate, not only recreate the actual era, but also bring in the details and bring in the characters the character pieces that make the actors really feel like they're living those characters. They're fantastic moments. I can think of being with Denzel at the pyramids on a Spike Lee joint, and I'm giving him the clothing that I researched that Malcolm X wore during his Hajj to Mecca, and then giving him the Islamic headpiece and the band that goes around it, and seeing him walking away or riding a camel. Those moments are precious. I think they're once in a lifetime in your career.
And of course, now you've written a book, and I would assume that is in your way, in part, giving back and also sharing your story.
Yes.
What do you want the reader to walk away, Ms. Carter, after reading that book?
I want the reader to know that being a costume designer means that you really are a visionary, and that you actually, live and breathe this profession. Everyone you encounter, all the experiences that happen behind the scenes, all of that goes into creating the storytelling aspect of costume design does directly affect, your living and breathing, your everyday life. And there's some experiences in there of how I was able to purchase something and get it back to the office and get it set up, and you really do walk away and say, wow, she lived that experience.
And what's next for Ruth E. Carter?
Well, we do have, unfortunately, an actor and a writer strike happening, and my heart goes out to all of the support people, all of the dry cleaners, and all of the support that goes behind supporting films. And I'm just hoping that the strike will end and I can go back to work. I was working on Blade with Mahershala Ali, and it was very exciting. We were really excited to get the film off the ground. So I'll probably go back to that, as well as travel my exhibition. The exhibition is doing very well. We just left North Carolina, and we're on our way to the William Wright Museum in North Carolina.
Well, make sure you try to make a stop here in Houston at some point, just to say hello to small people.
I would love to. I would love to.
All right, Ruth E. Carter, thank you for joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, and it was an honor to meet you, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
And she was a pleasure to meet, an incredible woman who has done incredible work in Hollywood, even the movie Amistad. She created and designed many of the costumes in that as well. Just incredible work. And of course, you can get her book, The Art of Ruth E. Carter, at any publication, any store, any website that sells books. You'll find it. Obviously, the clear one is Amazon, so go check it out. The Art of Ruth E. Carter.